Hey everybody, and today we are diving into my June TBR. So for June, a lot of it is going to be the carryover from my May TBR because my May TBR was not realistic, but it might have been realistic if it weren't for the fact that, you know, I got into Elden Ring and so read a whole ton less, like 800 pages less than I was intended to. But these books add up to more than 800 pages, so it definitely was unrealistic in any case. Let's start off with the sort of like one required read for the month of June, and that is going to be my read-along book for my dragon-based read-along, There Be Dragons, and that is going to be the Tea Dragon Society. So this is a graphic novel. Only the first one in this series is actually part of the read-along. I don't know yet whether I'm just going to read the first one or whether I'm going to read more than them. I will be in the UK for the first week of June, and so I might actually, like, for 4 days of the first week of June. So I might try and get it there, and then I might actually get it in a bind up. So that'll kind of depend whether I will read the entire thing or not, based off of whether I can find it there. I'm pretty sure that it will be readily available there. So this is a graphic novel series in which we're following. All I really know about it is that there's just like these tiny dragons that have like horns that grow tea leaves, and then you can brew tea out of it. So I'm expecting a cozy graphic novel with dragons. So yeah. So that is basically my one like super required read that I think is going to be a breeze to get through. Then my second sort of like main... Then the second sort of like required read is The Liar's Knot by M.A. Carrick. This is not required, but I planned from the beginning of the year to be going into this series in the months of May, June and July. So we are up for this. I planned this. There are a few people that will be picking this up around the same time as me so that I can talk about the book with them. And so this is the second book in the Rook and Rose trilogy, in which we are looking at a character called Ren, who is a con artist who basically returns to the city where she has last been when she killed the criminal overlord that was part of her criminal organization. So she is infiltrating back into the city under a disguise in order to try and infiltrate her way into a rich family who's basically on the brink of destruction, though she doesn't know that when she starts off with this con, and a lot of things ensue. There's also a mysterious character called the Rook, who's basically some type of like Zorro character who is, you know, out there defending the rights of the innocents. And yeah, this is a whole lot of fun. It's a lot of intrigue, a lot of sort of like conflicting goals within our cast of characters that we are following. And there is dream magic within this world. The magic in this one is definitely not following strict, rigorous rules. It's a little bit more like mysterious, and you don't really fully know what is possible within this world. So if you do not like that type of magic, do be careful going into this one, because that is definitely the type of magic that you'll encounter within this one. But yeah, very eager to dive into the sequel to The Mask of Mirrors. Next up, let's say the next sort of priority will be Yumi and the Nightmare Painters by Brandon Sanderson. I did start this book in May. It was my intention to finish it in May, but I basically did not prioritize it once I started it. Once I started it, I realized like, okay, I really need to finish The Bitter Twins and The Mask of Mirrors, and I only finished those like an hour before the month of May was over, so I wasn't able to get this one into the month of May. So it will be one of my priorities for the month of June, because this is a book that I acquired on the 1st of July 2023, so it needs to be read before the 1st of July 2024. This is the third of these Secret Project books by Brandon Sanderson, so that is all I'm going to be saying about it. Next up, let's see, I need some audiobooks on my TBR. So the two audiobooks that I currently have available to me that are also part of my physical TBR are Magma by Tora Hjortleifsdottir. This is only 2 hours of an audiobook, so this is definitely going to fit into the month of June. Might even listen to it on the commute that I have in the UK, for example, because it's a light one to pack with me, and so that way I can get some progress while I'm there. In any case, because on a journey, like when you're traveling, it's never really sure how much you're gonna get read. This is a book that deals with domestic violence, and it is an Icelandic book. Next, the other audiobook that I have access to is Inkblood Sister Scribe by Emma Torse. This is a Waterstones edition, and this book is also one that I need to read in the month of July. And it is, all I really remember about it is we are following a bunch of sisters who are part of this family who has, through the generations, been tasked with the protection of a magical collection of books. And there are some people out for these books. So features magic, feature books. What else do we want? I've also been hearing quite some good things about this. It's not really a widely read book, but the few things that I've read, that I've heard about it, have always been positive. So I'm eager to see my experience with it. Then I also think I still need to read this in the month of July. So I hope to finish it in the month of June instead of having to push it into July. Is The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero La Cruz. Don't really know much about this anymore, and I don't want to go into it at this point in time, which I think is the same that I said last month, because it was also supposed to be in my May TBR. I will just read like the back of it. Reyna was a creature of the void, with her whispering monstrous heart. So, indicating that there's something dark going on here. I think this features 2 female characters, so potentially also sapphic romance. I would enjoy that. And then the final book that I'm going to talk about here, I might still pick up some other stuff. That is just going to depend on the month. But I would like to read this one. It is the most recent thing on my TBR, so it's definitely not a priority in that sense of the word. But I mean, if we get to it, all the better. That is Phantom Folk by Eliza Chan. This is the Lumicrate edition, and I would like to wrap up my video about this edition, and so I would love to read it. All I know about this is that this is Asian inspired and features a aquatic universe, or like it heavily features sea creatures and stuff like that. So that is going to be it for my June TBR. I'm gonna keep it on the shorter end. So what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books, right? I have a 7th book that is like the next most likely thing that I read aside from those. But yeah, I'm not gonna include it here to keep my TBR like my expectations for my TBR a little bit lower compared to what ended up being the case in May. But so yeah, hopefully my main focus for the month of June is going to be physical TBR. So with the exception of, I know I had another book on here, so I already had 7 books on here, right? So yeah, that already seems like a decent amount of books to put on a TBR, considering how I only got to like 6 in the month of May. But yeah, I'm hoping to, but my intention, as I indicated, is to heavily focus on the physical TBR, or on like the TBR that I count. 6 out of those 7 are part of my TBR. If I buy the Tea Dragon Society while I'm in the UK, that will also become part of my TBR. So the goal for this month is not to add too much to it that does not help me reduce my TBR. If I need another audiobook, I do still have another book on my physical TBR at this point in time that I do have the audiobook for, so that would also still be an option, for example, so I don't need to go outside of my TBR for an audiobook and at this point in time. So yeah, hopefully at the end of June the TBR will have gone down by 6 books at the least, hopefully, and then hopefully we can still maybe reduce it by more, but of course, potentially I will also be buying more when I'm in the UK. I don't know, that the intention is not to do that, but will I be strong enough to resist? I'm pretty good at resisting at this point in time, but in the UK there's just so much more available to me, of course, in terms of choices, that it might be a little bit more difficult there. But so yeah, with that I'm gonna end this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys for the next one. Bye!